With me out there, I would like to see her.
I have 10 till, right?
Someone just told me 11.
It's 10 till?
Seemed a little short.
Okay. When we all talk about advancing, I mean, you can get it. One of the things that's, but something sort of indicative to SCA fencing is that we can step from side to side. And that's when things get tricky. Because we're still keeping towards our opponent, but we want to be able to move from side to side. And there are some pretty simple do's or don'ts, or at least you would think that they're pretty simple while we're fighting. Sometimes we forget. Right? We're moving expediently, and we take an action we're not planning to take. And we do something that creates an accident and we get killed. The biggest worst thing you can do, especially when you're moving to the side, when you're moving to the inside, you're moving to your right, you really have to think. Move the leg that's in the direction where you want to go first. I know that sounds simple and like, why would he say that? But you see it all the time. Somebody's on guard and they want to move to their sword side, and they'll step with their back foot first. As soon as you cross your legs, you're dead. Any fighter who's worth their salt, as soon as you cross their legs, will close with you and hold you. And you deserve it. When you're moving to the side, you really need to step with your leg first, and the leg that's in the direction you're going. If you're going right, use your right. If you're left, use your left. And you can maintain your guard, right? You can easily move, maintain your measure. Even if there's the old trick, right? So I'm doing my circle, and every time I step in, I'm going to step a little closer to you. I'm going to try to close my measure with you while you're not paying attention. Although they're circling you, but I'm also closing my distance. This is easy to do in that side step, but it's also easy to counter. You see a move close to you. Hey, look, they're thrusting and say, wow, they're close. You know, so you can take a step back at that time. If you're being mindful of how your shoulders roll and maintaining your guard when you're doing that movement, it makes it harder for your opponent to predict what direction you're going. And that's also part of your stance. You want to move in that way where it's fluid. You're not getting that tell that you're moving. Because obviously, anytime you do something in tempo, you're going side to side, changing position.
Yeah, but Christian guards and counter guards should be here.
Yeah, there's an opportunity for your opponent to attack. Right, which is we have to want. We want them to attack. We want them to attack when we're ready for them to attack, not when they want to attack. They think that's the opportunity that they want to attack. We want them to attack, and that's sort of a mindset and a readiness aspect of the fight. I'm on guard. I sidestep. But I've already anticipated. I know the risk. I've stepped to the side. My opponent's going to want to roll in and attack. Great. I'm ready for that, right? I still have control of the fight, even though I've changed position. I've created tempo. I'm going to hit and react.
It works the same way when we set.
Right, yeah. So if you're going to the outside, right, they're going to want to. Anytime you're rolling into somebody's strong, arm, when you're rolling into their sword, right, it's a bad move, typically, especially if you're moving and maintaining a general measure, because it's sort of in the nature of how our body moves. When your left leg is back, when you move it, you want to move forward slightly, because that's how your hips roll when you change position. So you have to be mindful of your measure when you're moving to the sword side, because you don't want to close that gap. So you're almost moving sort of almost like backwards and to the left. You're not actually going to roll with them in a circular fashion. When you move to the inside, you're almost moving away from them slightly, because you're stepping sideways. Because what you don't want to do when you do that is you're going to step here, right? I unintentionally close my measure to my opponent. And if I'm not ready for it, I get killed. And it kind of was my own fault. So I will admit, I do not do a lot of moving around, like circling my opponents. I think it's a waste of energy. I'd rather come on, take my guard, duke it out. Any fight that lasts longer I mentally train for about a 30-second fight. Because I can fight 30-second fights. But I can probably only fight 3 or 4, 2 or 3 5-minute exchanges. It's physically and mentally draining. So, get your fight over as quick as you can, kill your opponent, move on to the next guy. Maybe that doesn't sound very chivalrous, maybe it doesn't sound real polite, but it's a simple conservation of energy. You know, I'm doing my opponent a curious action by not toying with them. I'm going to do my best, I'm going to fight my best game, I'm going to kill them as fast as I can, go on to the next guy. If they did some horrifying, grievous error out on the list, I'm going to say, hey, excuse me, if you're interested in something that you're fighting, I want to know about. And they may say bugger off, and if they're, it happens. And if that's the case, then that's on them. But if you see something, well, I stepped to my right and you lifted your hand in anticipation of an attack. When you lifted your hand, you opened your guard, right? Anything, really. That communication with your opponents is a whole other class. Our time is probably about up now. So anybody who would like to continue, I'm going to move outside to the open sparring area. Is there anybody who doesn't know where that is?
Near the pool.
Yeah. It's over by the pool. It's that way. So
there are signs.
Take 5, get a drink of water, make a head call. I'll be outside.
Thank you, Colin.